and the sense of wonder that something very special was happening. My mother sat in a corner of the living room with my baby brother in her arms, and my father, well, he was all over the place, standing, sitting, talking, and directing me to place my chubby little hand just so on the television screen. Pop took a picture of my hand against the bright glare of the television broadcasting the moonwalk. He said I touched the future. The impression of that moment started a lifelong love of space and all the science fiction associated with it. You'd think my father's obsession with the NASA space program would lead me down a path to the sciences. It did in a way, but it also opened up my imagination, which developed an interest in storytelling. I wanted to know what those men were doing while bouncing around the lunar surface in their spacesuits, and I imagined them performing great exploits. I tried so hard to see UFOs in the sky, and I wasn't afraid of being abducted by aliens. Well, except that one time when I was 11, and the Goodyear blimp came out from behind some cloud cover. I thought I really was witnessing an extraterrestrial invasion. The moment impressed me in another way, too. My dad, who was my hero, had heroes of his own. It was a small lesson with a big impact. Grown-ups had heroes who were other grown-ups. It was a funny idea to a 6-year-old, but today, grown-up me has lots of grown-up heroes. I call them saints. But first, I followed my dad's early lead and looked to space for heroes and role models. My first hero, Lieutenant Uhura. My love of space drew me to science fiction stories. I'd sit on my father's lap while he watched Star Trek on Sunday nights. I was too young to understand the show during its original run in the 1960s, but reruns in the 70s captivated me and fueled my growing imagination. I couldn't get enough of those stories. I was still a kid, and Lieutenant Uhura from Star Trek was my hero. I have a scar in my ear canal from wearing a metal spring I swiped from my little brother's crib. It looked like the communication device Uhura wore in her ear, so it was great for pretending. There were several women on Star Trek besides Lieutenant Uhura, but she was definitely the coolest. Uhura was a communications officer. I didn't know what that was, but even then the rumblings from my friends' older sisters told me that Lieutenant Uhura was a wise choice for a role model. Feminism had gained a stronghold in the high school girls' world, and they were vocal about anything that might cast women, especially some of the women we saw on television, as tired old cliches of womanhood. I looked to these high school-age older sisters of friends as authorities on all things feminine. These young feminists focused on the roles the women played, a female yeoman attracted to Captain Kirk, and a female nurse who assisted a male doctor. The big sisters were disappointed in the limitations of the jobs offered to women. Lieutenant Uhura, on the other hand, didn't seem tied down to any man, and her role was non-traditional. She was a woman on the bridge of a starship, and she held her own as an expert in her field. Feminism, or feminine genius. As an undergraduate student of literature, I thought male and female characters could have interchangeable attributes. I rejected the view that a female character could bring to the role of hero something unique to her character that went beyond what I knew to be sexist and cliched representations of their characters. Then I discovered the feminine genius through St. John Paul II's Letter to Women and Mulieris Dignitatem, on the dignity and vocation of women. St. John Paul II stresses that women have a unique gift in being life-bearers, that because we can bring life into the world through this gift of our female biology, we also have a special vocation to be caretakers of God's human creation. We are called, because we are women, to care for others.